Good afternoon, all of you. Today we will start with a new chapter in civics, constitutional design. Okay, now if you remember the last chapter or the first chapter of civics that we did, we got to know that in a democracy, rulers, they are not free to do what they wish. Alright, so even once they are chosen to be the rulers, it is not that they can go on ruling as per their wishes. So, we have seen that there are certain basic rules according to which the government they need to run. So, there are certain basic rules according to which the government as well as the citizens, the citizens and the government, they have to follow. So there are certain basic rules which are to be followed both by the government, the rulers, as well as by the citizens. And we have seen in the first chapter that all such rules together according to which a country is governed is called what? Yes? The rules according to which
the Constitution.
Yes, Constitution, right. So we have seen that all such rules together, they are called as the Constitution. Now, Constitution is the supreme, means the highest law of the country, and the Constitution, it determines that what would be the rights of the people, what type of a government we'll have, alright, and how that government would be elected, what would be the powers of the government, how that government will function, what would be the relationship between the different organs, the different levels of the government, what would be the relationship between the people and the government. Alright, so all that is there in the Constitution. So in this chapter, we will see some basic questions about the constitutional design, means how the constitution of a country is designed. We will also see that why we need a constitution, why is there a need to have a constitution, then how are constitutions made, how are constitutions framed, that also we will see. Who designs these constitutions, in what way are these constitutions designed, all that we will see during the course of this chapter. And then what are the values according to which a constitution is made in democratic countries, that we will see. And we will also have a look that, okay, once a constitution is made, then can, according to the needs, can we make changes in that or not? So all this we will see in this chapter. Now the chapter, it begins with a story from South Africa. And so we have, it begins with a small speech by Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela, he was tried for treason. Anyone can tell me the meaning of treason here? Yes?
Betrayal.
Okay, yes, betrayal of one's own country. So he was tried for treason by the white South African government there, and he got life imprisonment. So he spent 28 years of his life in South Africa's most dreaded prison, that is the Robben Island. Now why this happened? Now I think most of you also know that in South Africa, a system of racial discrimination was followed by the whites, and we have a special name for this special system of racial discrimination that was followed in South Africa. It is called as apartheid. So apartheid was the name of a system of racial discrimination which was unique, special to South Africa. And here the white Europeans, they imposed the system on South Africa. And during the 17th and the 18th century, we know that trading companies from Europe, they went in different parts of the country, and through arms and force, they occupied many colonies in the world. India was also one of them. But unlike India, here in South Africa, what happened? A large number of Europeans, they came and settled here. Okay, and then the white European rulers, they started to rule here because they made South Africa their colony, so they were ruling here, and they were discriminatory towards the local people, the blacks, who were called as the blacks living in South Africa. And so this apartheid system, it was very oppressive for the blacks, and they were not allowed to live in the areas where the white lives. They could only work in the areas where white lives only if they had a permit. Otherwise they were not allowed to work in areas where the whites lived, or where the whites worked. Trains, buses, taxis, hotels, hospitals, schools, colleges, means everything was separate for the whites and for the blacks and colored. So it was all separate. This is called as segregation, means separation. So things were separate for the blacks and for the whites. And so the blacks, the colored, so all who were not fair-skinned people, they were called as coloreds. Indian also come in that category for them. So then the blacks, the coloreds, the Indians who were living there, they fought against this apartheid system, and they launched protest marches, and there were strikes. And so just like in India, there was this struggle for independence. So here also the same thing happened. And finally, on the midnight of 26th April 1994, the new national flag of the Republic of South Africa, it was unfurled, and a new democracy was born into the world. And so the apartheid government, it came to an end, and a new government, a multi-racial government, was formed. And so this whole process through which the people had to undergo in South Africa, now it was a difficult process for both especially for the blacks living there. And now we can turn to 3.2, since we now know what was the basic thing that happened there. So why we need a constitution? So we see a new country was formed, and they gave themselves a new constitution and all that. So the blacks and the whites, they sat together, and they discussed and deliberated, though it was very difficult for them to trust each other, to forgive. Like, it was very difficult for the blacks to forgive the whites because of how they had been oppressed by the whites for so many years. And so but still they thought that they will make the constitution of their country together, and they will forgive each other, and they will try to trust each other and form a new constitution for their country. So the South African example is a good way to understand that why we need a constitution, and what basically constitutions do, or what is the purpose of having a constitution. Now in South Africa, the oppressor means the white, they were the oppressors, they oppressed the feelings. So the oppressor and the oppressed means the whites and the blacks. In this new democracy, they were planning to live together as equals. So when this new democracy was formed, or it was born, so now the blacks and the white decided that now in this new country, we will live together as equals. So now this was not going to be easier for either of them. Now trusting each other was very difficult, and both had their fears. The black, and each wanted to safeguard their interests. The black majority, the blacks, obviously they were in majority, it was their country, and they made 75% of the population. And so they were keen, they wanted to ensure that the democratic principle, which was based on majority rule, it was not compromised. They wanted this to be there, and they wanted that they should also get certain social and economic rights, for which for long they had been denied. So they wanted this for them. And the white minority, though they were less in numbers, but we knew that they were ruling, then the white minority, they also wanted to protect, because now they knew that it was a democratic country and they were less in numbers, the blacks were more. And so even if democratically a government would form, obviously it will have more blacks in them. And so that is why they also wanted that their privileges and their property should be protected, and their property should not be taken away from them by the blacks and all that. And so there was long discussions and negotiations, and both the parties finally they came to a compromise. and the whites, they agreed to the principle of majority rule, and that each person will have one vote, and they also agreed that certain basic rights should be given to the poor, to the workers, those people who had been ill-treated and discriminated for long, and the blacks agreed that the majority rule, it would not be absolute, means it is not that it would be without any limitations and restrictions. They will keep everything in mind, and they agreed that the majority, the blacks, they will not take away the property of the white minority. Now, making this compromise, now it was not easy. Now, how will they implement? So even if through discussion they came to this compromise, now how will they implement this compromise? And even if they manage somehow to trust each other, now what was the guarantee that this trust will not be broken in future? Now the only way to build and maintain trust in such a difficult situation was to write down certain basic rules of this whole system, and certain rules that both the parties, both sides would abide by, both sides would follow. And now these rules also lay down that how the rulers would be chosen in future. And so now we are talking about a constitution. So the only way was that you made certain rules, you write down certain rules, and these rules everyone has to follow. These rules will decide what type of a government they'll have, how the government would be elected in the future, and what would be the powers of these elected governments. Then they will also tell that what would be the rights of the citizens, and then all this can only work properly if the rules cannot be changed very easily by the winners. So like if I somehow come to power, and if it is very easy for me to change the rules, so obviously I will change the rules for my benefit, for the benefit of the community which I belong to, and they did not wanted this to happen. And so the rules will only work if the winner, they cannot change them very easily. And now this is what the South Africans did, and they agreed on certain basic rules. They also agreed that these rules would be supreme and no government would be able to ignore them, means the constitution would be above the governments, and this set of basic rules is called a constitution. Now it is not that constitution making is only unique to South Africa. It is not that only South Africa has a constitution. Every country, they have so many different types of people living there, and there's so much diversity in each country. And so in each country diversity is there. Now the relationship between the different types of people living in each country, they might not be as bitter or as bad as in South Africa. But all over the world, in every country, there are different types of people, and the interests, they often clash with each other. Alright, so that is bound to be there, that the people will have different opinions, and the people will have different interests. Now whether democratic or not, but most countries in the world, they need to have certain basic rules. Otherwise, how will you run something? How will you govern something? And now this applies not only to governments, any association, any organization that is working, it needs to have a constitution. It needs to have certain basic rules which all people agree to follow. And now it could be like a club in your area, a cooperative in a society, or even a political party, or even a school. Now we don't call it constitution here, but there are certain rules which even schools follow. Now what is timetable? That is also a basic framework according to which the whole school runs. If there is no timetable, no rules as to which teacher will come and teach which subject, alright, you do not know, we do not know, obviously there will be utter chaos and confusion. Don't you think so? If there is no timetable and you don't know which teacher will come in which period and teach, so what would be there? Total chaos, total confusion. And there would not be smooth functioning. So when we need timetable for a school, so obviously we need rules and regulations for a big country and a diverse country like India or any other country for the same. Now, thus, basically, so what we can say is the constitution is a set of written rules, and these written rules are accepted by all the people who are living in that country. Constitution is said to be the supreme, the highest law, and this law determines the relationship between the people in that country. So the constitution determines the relationship between the citizens and also the relationship between the people and their rulers, between the people and the government. So a constitution, it basically does many things. Let's see few things that it does, few of the important things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination. You know, so many different type of people live together. So the constitution, it creates a degree of trust that okay, certain rules are here. You do your part, I will do mine. We both trust each other to do their part, and then you know we are willing to live together, and so we compromise and we coordinate together so that we can live together unitedly in our country. That is what constitution does. Secondly, it specifies, it tells that how the government would be constituted, how the government would be elected, how will it be formed, and once formed, who will have how much power and how will they take the different decisions. Then you know it also tells us what are the limits. You know, it is not that once in power the government can do as they wish. So you know it also lays down limits on the powers of the government. There is a system of checks and balances, like so that you know no organ of the government can misuse their power. So constitution also makes sure that all even the powers of the government, they are kept in check. And so you know the constitution, it tells about the limits on the power of the government and also what would be the rights of the citizen in our country. Then finally it also talks about the aspirations of the people, about creating a good society, means what they want their country to be like. So you know it is our aspiration, what we want our country to be like. So those ideals we'll follow. Those ideals, on the basis of those ideals, laws would be made. Like you know the Indian preamble, you have studied that in class 8th also. And you know, so we had the terms like sovereignty, secularism, socialism, all right, justice, fraternity, and all that. So you know we value these ideals, and on the basis of these ideals the constitution has been made. Okay, now all countries have constitutions, but it does not mean that every country having a constitution is a democratic country. All right, so but all countries which are democratic, they will have a constitution. All the countries which have constitution, it is not 100% sure that they will be democratic, but it is 100% sure that all democratic countries will have a constitution. Now after the war of independence against Great Britain, the Americans, you know, when they got free, the 13 colonies of America, they got free, they declared themselves independent, and they gave themselves a constitution. And even we studied the French Revolution. So after the revolution, you know, the French people, they also gave them a constitution. And since then, you know, it has been a practice in all democracies to have a written constitution. So that was, you know, why we need a constitution. Now we'll move on and see the making of the Indian constitution. You know, like South Africa, even India's constitution was drawn up in very difficult times. Now what was these difficult times? You know, first and foremost, to make a constitution for such a diverse country like India, where people live in so many different regions, follow different religions, speak different languages, follow different customs and traditions, and you know, our food habits are different, and you know, the way we dress up, everything is so different, so diverse in our country. And even if we are following a certain religion, there are so many different beliefs in that particular religion also. And so the variations, the differences are so many in our country. Now to make up a constitution for a vast, huge and a diverse country like India, now that was a really difficult task. And that at that time we were emerging from the status of subjects. Now under the British rule we were like slaves, they were our colonial masters. So we were not free. And now earlier we were subjects, we were under someone, and now from that we were emerging to the status of free citizens. So now people were emerging from the status of subjects to the citizens. And now to make a constitution for a country like that, now that was difficult. Then our country was born through that partition in which so many people lost their lives. And now this was a traumatic experience for both the people of India and Pakistan. So our country, we got our freedom through this partition. Now that was also very difficult. When you have gone through so much trauma, and then to make a constitution for a country like that, now that is very difficult. Then about 10 lakh people, they were killed on both sides of the border in this partition related violence. And then there was another problem. The British, they left it on the princely states. At that time, when the Britishers were ruling here, some parts of the country were under their direct control and some were under their indirect control. Indirect control means those rulers, they have accepted the supremacy of the Britishers, but the rulers were still ruling in their own areas. Those who have accepted the subsidiary alliance and all. So there were many princely states at that time. So the Britishers had left it on the princely states that they can join any country, India or Pakistan, as per their wishes. Now this merger, the merger of these princely states, now that was very difficult and uncertain. We did not know how many princely states will come and join us. So that was very difficult and uncertain task. And when the constitution of a country, it was written, so the future of the country, it did not look so bright as and secure as it does today. And so the makers of the constitution, they were so much worried, they were anxious, they were worried about the present, means that time, and also the future of the country. So even while the Indian constitution was being framed, we had so much difficulties, problems. It was also framed in a difficult time. Now, but though it was framed during a difficult time, but despite all these difficulties, there was one big advantage for the makers of the Indian constitution. Now that was, unlike South Africa, they did not have to create a consensus or an agreement or approval about what democratic India should look like. It was not that after we got independence, so they sat down and decided, okay, now what we wanted our India to be like. It was not like that. They did not have to create a consensus or an agreement after we got independence, because much of these agreement had already evolved during our freedom struggle. And when our struggle for independence, it was not merely a struggle to get freedom from the foreign rule, but it was also a struggle to rejuvenate, to bring back to life, bring back the earlier glory of our country back, and to transform our country, our society and politics, reform our society and politics. So it was not only freedom from the foreign rule, that is what we wanted. Now if you remember Gandhiji, he said that independence will not only come once we have removed the Britishers from here, but till the time the society, it does not get transformed, till that time we won't have the real independence. So the people here in our country, while we were fighting for independence, so they have already come to an agreement that what they wanted our country to be like when we got independence. And so though there were sharp differences within the freedom struggle, that what path should India take once it got free. And some wanted democratic government, some thought that no, for a time there should be one leader and he should bring back everything to proper form, and then we can later on after few years we can follow democracy. Some wanted like not exactly dictatorship, but like a system where not all people decide the fate of the country. So people had different views at that time, and such differences they still exist today. Yet some basic ideas came to be accepted by everyone even during our freedom struggle. And as far back as in 1928, when we are still under the British rule, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders, they have made a rough constitution for India. And in 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of the Congress, of the Indian Congress, in this session also, they discussed as to how the constitution of the independent India, it should look like. And what we want to say is that even much before we got independence, and while we were fighting for independence in 1928, 1931, the people, they have started to think and deliberate and discuss that what they wanted independent India to be like. And both these documents, 1928 and 31, both these documents, they agreed on including certain things to our constitution, like they wanted universal adult franchise to be there. Yes, what is universal adult franchise? Come on, anyone?
Ma'am,
The right to
to
vote
vote.
given to all adult citizens irrespective
Okay,
of any
right to vote
difference.
for all adult population. Okay, so they have already thought about that. They will include universal adult franchise, they will give the right to freedom, right to equality, and they will also protect the rights of the minorities in independent India. So few things they have already come to an agreement earlier: universal adult franchise, right to equality, right to freedom, and protecting the rights of the minorities. Alright, and so what we can say is that some basic values were already accepted by the leaders much before the Constituent Assembly it got together to deliberate or discuss on the Constitution. Okay, so for today we will stop here. Have you understood what we have done today?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright. Okay, so that would be all for today.